Hello, welcome to my channel, Wing Spiritual Clarity. My name's Wendy Wing. I'm doing a psychic tarot reading for you, tuning into the day's energy, seeing what divine messages of guidance come through for you. This is a general reading, so take what resonates and leave the rest. If you'd like a personal reading, there's a link in the description box below. It takes you right to my book online page. All right. The overall energy of your reading is the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. Feels like you're looking around your environment and not feeling fulfilled by what's around you. I get that there's this phoenix rising from the ashes type of energy and this unlimited potential, which is very interesting next to this poverty mindset. Maybe it's in your mind that things feels like you've not enjoyed your 3D environment, or something is not, it's not a good fit. It doesn't matter what it was in the past. I'm looking at it in present energy, and it just doesn't fit. It doesn't work. It doesn't feel like you receive this as happiness, as it feels like you have transformed. You're wanting whatever this dissatisfaction with your environment, it looks like it's giving you a desire to make changes. I'm getting this energy of a field that doesn't have the nutrients, doesn't have what you need to grow what you want. I know from spending time in Indiana growing up that they rotated crops, soybeans and corn. If I'm correct, the corn would pull nutrients from the soil and soybeans put nutrients into the soil. And so they had to rotate the crops. So 1 year or a couple years, I'm not sure what it is, corn would be in this field, and then soybeans, so as not to drain the nutrients completely from the soil. And I get that you've gotten as much out of this environment as you could get. All the nutrients have been taken out of this, and instead of being mad at the soil, just recognizing, this might not be a good fit for me. It feels like you have this unlimited potential. You have this desire to go somewhere else, to have something else, but it looks like you might have some type of wounding, some type of beliefs that aren't helping serve you. It feels like there's a lot of sadness that the soil no longer can create the abundance that you want. It feels like there's this recognition that this environment is no longer giving me the nutrients so I can grow. And it feels like you might be stuck in, this isn't working, this isn't what I want, instead of, this isn't working, this isn't what I want. I don't have an opportunity here anymore. I can't do anything with this environment. It looks like you're really examining what you want, what your heart wants. this definitely, there's grief here, like realizing that this soil, this environment is, for whatever reason, not sustainable. It's not creating the life that you prefer. It looks like there's a lot of deception in this energy and a lack of opportunity. Maybe not wanting to see the truth, not wanting to see the reality. You know, maybe in the past you're like, the corn did really great, and then we had soybeans, they went around, but somehow the soil's just not producing. The environment is not what it once was. And I think recognizing that this is not for you doesn't mean that you don't have anything. It feels like there's just this pull on your energy. Just focus on the soil no longer producing, this environment no longer creating the abundance, and a sadness. There's this opportunity to really appreciate what you do have, to pull your focus off of what is no longer working and go somewhere else and create something else. It feels like you have gotten everything that you could out of that experience, out of that environment. Wow. All right, the hidden blessings is the Ace of Swords. New ideas, new insights. I like this because the Ace of Swords in reverse came up in the overall energy. Confusion, nothing new, no new ideas. It just feels very blocked. Feels like you are receiving new ideas, inspiration. Think what I'm tuning into is that you are now seeing that a relationship isn't working, with the Two of Cups in reverse and the Eight of Pentacles in reverse and the Six of Swords in reverse. There's clarity coming in for you. How uncomfortable this relationship is. Someone who's not willing to put in the work. Someone who has you walking on eggshells. It feels like it's a blessing to see the truth of this, instead of pretending like everything's fine and being maybe willfully ignorant of where things are now. I get that in the past, the corn and the soybeans, rotating crop, that worked, that brought abundance, but something has changed in the environment. And that this is a blessing to see this. And it feels like instead of someone has to be wrong or bad, this is giving you an opportunity to really focus on what you want. What is in alignment with you now, in present time. Feels like you're receiving a lot of ideas, inspiration, things that you're curious about, things you're inspired to, that are heart fulfilling, that are very you. Beautiful. Feels like also a lot of happiness as you let go and move away from situations, relationships where there's just nothing left to create. It's not fertile any longer. What you're leaving behind is the Four of Wands in reverse, a lack of happiness, a lack of celebration. Feels like an unhappy home, unhappy life. Instead of, again, that farming metaphor keeps coming up. I think just owning, like recognizing, oh, this is just, I'm just really unhappy here. This isn't for me. I don't feel celebrated. I don't want to keep creating this unhappiness. You're leaving behind, also it looks like people and situations that are too small for you, where people aren't growing, aren't evolving, and it looks like you're leaving behind where you had to do all the heavy lifting, all the work, all the healing. It feels like your role in this uncomfortable environment, this unhappy home, was kind of the stopgap. Like you were doing the emotional heavy lifting and maybe even the spiritual work, but around people who aren't willing to do the work themselves. I get the feeling that you, in the past, what you're leaving behind is a wounded healer type of energy, where you have been made responsible for how everyone feels. And so then you need to heal everyone how they feel is your responsibility. It looks like you're leaving that behind. It's not your responsibility. It's each of our responsibilities to work with our own emotions. Someone might show up in the 3D and it activates something that we didn't know was there, or something that's unhealed. That person did not do something to you. They showed you something in your energy that's unhealed. It's not their responsibility to fix what's not working in your space. By making others responsible, there's a immaturity, a lack of understanding of what emotions are. And it also creates a scenario where someone is burdened with the emotions, but not respected because they heal it, because you can't. You can't. It feels like there's a basic misunderstanding of who's responsible for how I feel. Maybe you were raised in an environment where the adults, the grown-ups, created that. And that was a structure that was passed down to them. That as a child you have no rights and you're responsible for how the parent feels. And so that created that woundedness where it's I need my emotions, how I feel has no place. It's my parents' emotions, how they feel is important. And so it feels like you learned how to suppress, repress, discount, decenter your own experience and center someone else's. Wow. All right. How you get the most of this energy is no longer sacrificing yourself, realizing what's your responsibility and what's not. I think I'm getting this. I'm recognizing that you might have been put in a position where, again, in childhood, you couldn't center your experience. You had to center your parents' experience, how they feel. Sacrificing even your childhood to parent. This is parentification. And carrying on into adulthood, relationships where your partner makes you responsible for how they feel. Wanting you to, feels like a mom wound, wanting you to nurture and mother instead of show up as a equal partner, an adult. Feels like people have been able to say things to get you in your woundedness, to make you feel like you're not valuable and worthy, and so that somehow you're at a deficit and you're lucky to have them. So they project onto you their worthlessness, whatever their insecurities are. It's like you're no longer going to accept doing the emotional labor for someone else. Wow. It looks like you're strategizing, making plans. Feels like you might be stuck at planning, but not taking action. I get this feeling, there's this growing impatience, but it's really hard to walk away from whatever this is because of attachment issues, maybe, and there's some type of emotional attachment here, and this is not hard. This isn't easy. This is hard. Especially, it's interesting. It's like I'm making plans. I want to leave this environment. I want to go to. It's partially has something to do with leaving something behind, because you recognize there's nothing will grow here. The benefit that I got from it is in the past. It feels like that impatience is actually working for you, feeling so uncomfortable. It feels like you're waiting until it gets to a level of discomfort so you can leave. Or you can decide that's uncomfortable enough. It feels like you can tolerate a lot. It feels like you tolerate a lot, and maybe it's time to stop tolerating and start living for what you would prefer, what you want, instead of tolerating. This feels like a long time of tolerating. All right, but we've got 2 of Wands and 8 of Cups repeating. So this is what's supporting you is the 2 of Wands. Strategizing, planning. I can go anywhere I want. This is a very powerful point. You could, once you recognize, oh, nothing will grow here. I've gotten all the juice out of this. There's nothing left here. Feels like there's a lot of fears coming up. Feels like um, what's interesting here is I get the feeling that when you pull your energy back, there's someone in your environment who's benefiting from your energy. And when you pull your energy back, they come in. They can recognize when you pull your energy away, when you start focusing on something else that you prefer. Feels like they come in and they tell you just enough to keep you staying, tolerating. Feels like you're creating space or focusing on what you want, on what you desire. Feels like you're decentering someone because you're recognizing that this is not love. I do not receive this as loving or love. Feels like instead of like this person's a bad person because this is not love, it feels like, hey, I'm not receiving, I'm not nourished, I'm not feeling loved and cared for. This is, I'm wanting to create something for myself. Feels like the moment I think what I'm getting here is if you are needing whoever you're wanting to leave, or the environment, the people, the person, it feels like communicating what you want. They tell you what you want to hear, so you'll tolerate more. When you start making choices for yourself, then it feels like you get a lot of pushback. The moment you want something for yourself, it feels like I'm also getting that you might be blocking someone from their karma. You might be receiving their karma. If you are doing the emotional labor in a relationship and lifting someone else, it doesn't feel like it's serving either of you, because you are blocking this person from doing their own emotional work, from maturing. And you are devaluing yourself, and it feels like this has been a real relationship around a karmic relationship around lessons. What have you learned from this relationship? What are the themes that you've been exploring? It feels like some of them that I'm perceiving in this reading, if this resonates, has been where you're doing the emotional labor for those in your environment. That you might be healing from a wounded place and not an empowered place. That you don't value yourself or have some unhealed wounds, so you sacrifice everything in hopes that eventually you will get that same energy back when you need it. But it feels like that's not what happens. When you are in need, this person can't meet you, doesn't want to, because they don't perceive your value. Feels enmeshed, and it feels like a lack of boundaries. Feels like a lot of really powerful lessons if you allow the lessons to come in and don't need this to be something that it's not. I think you might have thought this was your happily ever after, and it wasn't your happily ever after. It was a lesson. What to be mindful of is the Eight of Cups, is walking away, knowing when to walk away. Got that Kenny Rogers song again. You gotta know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. Oh, Kenny. All right. So knowing when to walk away and knowing when to run away. This feels like an important lesson. Knowing when to walk away from something, knowing when to say when, knowing when that even if there's still love, attachment, still emotions, knowing that nothing will grow from this. I've explored everything. This might not have been what I expected it to be, but it wasn't a waste because there were lots of lessons. And the Eight of Cups, she's walking away to the Nine of Cups. Your soul fulfillment, walking towards, it has a lot, but it doesn't have that 9 cups. It's not soul fulfilling. It feels like you've been clinging on to 1 cup and being like, this is enough, this will sustain me, instead of what you really could have. Looks like they're also being mindful of people who want you to stay in environments that are not soul fulfilling. Who benefits? Who benefits from you staying? Because it feels like there's someone who's like, trying to manipulate you to accepting less than what you deserve. Someone who gives you the 3 of Swords, very painful communication, very heartbreaking, and it's like they're giving you this 3 of Swords communication. This is how they treat you, but they're saying you should be happy. There's something wrong with you that you're not receiving this as loving. This is someone very manipulative. It feels like they've very confusing. This person lacks empathy. They just want to control the people in their environment to get their needs met. And so I think being mindful of why people, who benefits from you staying in a situation that's too small? Who benefits from you not going after your soul fulfillment? I think that's a good question. And also, validating your own feelings, your own emotions, instead of allowing someone to manipulate your emotions and your feelings, saying there's something wrong with you that you don't receive, that you're not loving this. Like, yeah, okay, there's something wrong with me. See ya. It feels like just letting them, it feels like if you need to convince this person that it's okay for you to leave, then you're going to be staying in this. It feels like you are kind of wanting agreement with someone instead of realize. It feels like there's this real opportunity to start making your own decisions, to stop asking someone else permission and take a leap of faith here. And create something new for yourself, something that you're willing to put the effort in, the energy in, something that excites you, something that you feel drawn to, instead of surviving and tolerating. So, all right, that's your reading. I hope that was helpful. Take care.